Our shared reading this morning comes from our 19th century Unitarian forefather, the transcendentalist poet, philosopher, and essayist, Ralph Waldo Emerson. Please lift the words in italics with your voices on "The Heart Knoweth." We have a great deal more kindness than is ever spoken. The whole human family is bathed with an element of love like a fine ether. How many persons we meet in houses whom we scarcely speak to, whom yet we honor and who honor us. How many we see in the street or sit with in church, whom though silently we warmly rejoice to be with. Read the language of these wandering eye-beams. The heart knoweth.
This morning, we continue our annual series we call Bending the Arc, drawn from the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. when he said, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice." That piece of music bends us just a little closer. Thank you. This teaching of Dr. King, he learned from our Unitarian forefather, Theodore Parker. And King phrased it, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice." Each year here at River of Grass, we share a series of services to go deeper into this teaching, to search out our part to keep bending that arc just a little closer in our lifetime. Our series this year draws from the wisdom given by the Unitarian Universalist Reverends Nancy Bowen and Mike Moran, called the 5 Jagged Rocks of Unitarian Universalism. Now, these 5 jagged rocks themselves came from the teachings of the Reverend James Luther Adams on the 5 smooth stones of Unitarian Universalism, when, upon living this faith a while, the Reverends Bowen and Moran found those 5 smooth stones not so smooth, harder to live than expected, and so more like jagged rocks. This morning we consider the 5th of these jagged rocks, that there is a unity holding us all. A unity holding everything. A unity holding us. As we have asked for all of these smooth stones turned jagged rocks, what makes such a notion jagged? With the first jagged rock, that revelation is not sealed and truth is yet being revealed, we felt the jaggedness of facing the fact that we might not know all that we think we know after all. With the second jagged rock, that all souls are sacred and worthy, we face the jagged edge that all souls means all souls, including those that even we, as Unitarian Universalists, might find a bit harder to love than we expected. With the third jagged rock, that salvation is in this lifetime, we embraced our responsibility to build a better world here and now, not some other place or time. Then with last week's jagged rock, we explored how courageous love can transform this world. Our student minister, Besa, took us there and asked us to deal with the fact that if we would transform this world, the courageous part of courageous love means having the courage to transform ourselves, that the world might be transformed. And so finally this morning we come to the 5th jagged rock, a unity that holds us all. So what's so jagged about that? It sounds comforting to me, and it is. This notion that everything really does all hold together, even if I don't and can't understand how that happens. That on some level, all of this makes sense after all. that perhaps quantum theory is right, and we are all strung together with these avenues of energy, all strung together in ways that we just haven't evolved enough to readily see ourselves. And better yet, however much I might crave, comes the realization that however much I might want control, part of this unity that holds all is the fact that I am not in charge. And that is a relief and a terror, which you think I'd have learned by now. Little story. Some 29 years ago, I was expecting our second child as a high-risk pregnancy, and I had to go to total bed rest just to help him get strong enough to come into this world. I just moved to Miami, and I knew almost no one, but I had begun to make friends in a women's sobriety group in my area, and when they got word what was happening, they started showing up at my house in teams, some of them total strangers, to help with my 3-year-old and meals and laundry and you name it. I was overwhelmed with gratitude for them. And at that time, I was a fastidious stay-home mom, and I let my OCD run the show, especially in my kitchen. Until one day, I heard these precious women chatting and laughing and emptying my dishwasher, and by the sounds of the clinking and clanking and doors and drawers opening and closing, I could tell they were not putting things where they belong. And I got over it. Eventually. And boy howdy, if you saw my house this morning, you'd know how well I got over that. And lest you think I'm making light of OCD, I am not. It's still a challenge for me every day. It just doesn't manifest itself in housekeeping anymore. There was a time in my life that seemed to be coming apart. It wasn't just a tough pregnancy followed by a sick preemie, but everything in my life. And yet there was this unity holding it all together, manifested that day in those women who showed up at my house and defied my sense of order and held it all together and got it done, even when I was complaining how they got it done. Today, that little preemie is a strapping 6'5" man of his own life. And I am living in my child heart's dream in ministry and music and serving this beloved community that I could not ever even have imagined then. And so, you'd think I'd learned by now that every time I thought it's all coming apart, that I can't hold my life together, that there is a unity that was holding it, even when I could not see it. Even when I did not have the humility to accept this jagged rock, that what holds it all together is not me, but more often is holding it all together in spite of me. And that I'm not necessarily supposed to understand it. Just respect it. And just say its name. And its name is love. And I don't mean easy peasy, hearts and flowers, Valentine's week love. I mean fierce love. Love that is hard to do. hard even to receive. Love that is hard to bear and impossible to carry until we learn well enough how to live it and how to give it away and keep living it and keep giving it away, even when we feel like everything is coming apart. The words of the Reverend Amy Petrie Shaw. I was talking with God the other day, because we're cool like that. And God said, hey, I want you to tell people something. I was kind of busy, so I pretended I didn't hear. And God poked me and said, I'm not kidding. Pay attention. Because while we're cool, we're not that cool. And I know when I've pushed it too far. And so I put down my coffee cup and I turned around. And God said, let me hang a word around your neck so that everyone can see it. And you better speak it when you're out, because I'll know if you don't. And it will be heavy, so heavy on your soul. And that word was hung around my neck to take out to the people standing in the street. That word was preached into my ear and laid into my mouth and burned into my heart until all I could see was the shape of the word, and the word was all, and the word was love. And God said, now, get out of here. You don't have all day, and that word is going to get heavier, and you got work to do. So I'm taking my word out into the world. Love came down on this green earth. Love came down and turned over the tables and set the world on its end. Love made clear that it was the word for the poor and the broken and the brokenhearted, for the queer boy and for the angry girl. Love was the word for the late night hookers and the long haul truckers, for the heroin junkie and the runaway cutters. Love was the word for all the screwed up, pushed over, and too tired and can't take no more. Love was the word for the HIV patient and the man with no papers. Love was the word for me and for you and for the saints and the sinners and the scramblers in between. Love came down and made a way for there to be a way. And then love said, we are never going back. He who has ears, let him hear. And love said, we're all a part of something bigger. And if you cannot rise with us, if you cannot love with us, then you should get the hell out of the way, because we're not going anywhere and you are standing in the path. Love came down for the world to know. And I'm holding out this word. So even when you and God are just like that, you can't pretend you didn't know. I cannot put it down. I can never put it down. Not for a politician spewing hatred, not for a minister vomiting out bile in the costume of a saint, not for money or for country or for kin. I'm holding my word in my mouth, because the next time I see God, I want to be able to say, you gave me a word and I carried it just like you asked. You gave me a word and I took it and I showed it to everyone I met. You gave it to me and I showed it to her and Zer and Z and him, and I showed it to they and those over there. I never put it down. I can't put it down. I was talking with God the other day, because we're cool like that. God said, hey, I want to tell you, to tell people something. I was still kind of busy, so I pretended I didn't hear. God said, I'm not kidding. Pay attention. Because while we're cool, we aren't that cool. And I know when I had pushed it way too far, and so I put down my coffee cup, and I turned around. God gave me a word. Now I've given it to you. Start moving. The words of the Reverend Amy Petrie Shaw. This is the word we share today. Love. That is the unity that holds all and will not let go, even when we do. The thing about that word, that love, if we fail to honor it, if we fail to give it, if we fail to live it, it will get too heavy to bear until we do. That's the fifth jagged rock of Unitarian Universalism. That unity holds us all on the condition that we in turn give it and live it, that everything and everyone might feel held. This morning we will make a reminder of this great truth to take with us. Remember that piece of cord you received a little earlier? Remember the story of Joseph Tuckerman ministering to the sailors on the docks of Boston long ago when those in the highfalutin churches thought they were not worthy. God gave Joseph Tuckerman a word too. So now we're going to do this. Get out your cord. One side is red, one end is red. Everybody have one? If you don't, you want to be sure everybody has one. The other side is not red. Okay, we're going to do a practice, so don't pull it tight because we don't want it too tight yet because this is a practice run. Okay, so you hold up this side that's red. Now you hold up the other side in the left hand. Now, step 2. You take the red side and you fold it over and under the one on the left side until you've traded hands with the strings that you're holding, with the ends that you're holding. Go to the next one, all the way over and under. Step 3 is all the way back under. There we go. Then the next step is you take the one that's now in your left hand, which is now the red one, and the one in your right hand, which is now the white one, and you take the red one, and you fold it over and under the other side, just like that, and then you just pull gently, and you can see you have a square knot. Okay, now undo it. That was practice. Now we're going to do it for real, as a way to carry the unity we celebrate here with us into the world as we leave this place today. So now take the red end of your cord in your hand once more, in your right hand once more. Now pause for a moment. Focus your thoughts on that unity that holds us all, that holds us with one another, that holds us in the interdependent web of all being of which we are a part. Hold on to this and think of that unity with gratitude for those who came before, for those who will come after, and for the ones we are journeying with right here and right now, as we bend the arc of the universe a little closer to justice. Now, turn to someone next to you. Wrap that string around their wrist. Tie a square knot to remind them that we are all tied to one another and to the whole universe and the unity that holds all, as our choir begins to bring us our closing message. There is more.